Hello and welcome to the last lesson of week 2. Today we're going to look at multiply and divide real numbers. So by the end of the lesson, you'll be able to multiply and divide real numbers and determine whether the answer will be positive or negative. So just like with addition and subtraction in the last lesson, multiplying and dividing have different situations. In situation number 1, and again, we're going to focus on multiplying first, both numbers are positive. If both numbers are positive, the answer is going to be positive. We're going to start again with fractions. So 3/4 times 2/9. In addition, we had to have common denominators. The good news is with multiplying, we don't. We can just multiply straight across the numerator and straight across the denominator. So 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 9 is 36. The one thing you do have to make sure you do is reduce. I see that 6 and 36, I can divide both of those by 6. So I need to do that. Now, one way of maybe looking at this differently is reducing first. So I'll look at this one again. What if I reduced the 3 and the 9? It's called cross-reducing is what I call it. And then I can also reduce the 2 and the 4. What I mean by that, I'll kind of show you here. 3 and 9, I can take 3 out of both of those. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 2 and 4, I can divide both of those by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So now my new fraction is 1/2 times 1/3. And now I just multiply across. What's 1 times 1? It's 1. What's 2 times 3? 6. And you get the same answer. I don't care which way you do this. If you multiply across first, like I did at the beginning, and then reduce at the end, or if you reduce at the beginning, I don't care. Multiplying real numbers. Number 2, what happens when one number is positive and one number is negative? You might know the answer to this. 2 times -7 gives me -14. One positive, one negative, I get a negative answer. Why? Because multiplication is essentially repeated addition. So when I say 2 times -7, I'm doing -7 plus -7 twice. And we learned in the last lesson, if I have two negatives being added together, I get a negative answer, -14. All right, situation number 3. What happens if both numbers are negative? Well, then the answer is positive. Now, this one's a little harder to understand. Real quick, both negative numbers, I'm multiplying them, I get 12 as my answer. But why? Well, again, multiplication is repeated addition. So let's ignore the first negative. Let's look at 3 times -4. 3 times -4 means -4 plus -4 plus -4. But then the negative in front of the 3 means not. So it's like I'm taking a negative and putting it in front of each of those, which then changes them all to addition. So it's -4, which is +4, -4, which is +4, and -4, which is +4. And that gives me the 12 that we knew we would get. All right, let's look at dividing real quick. They have the same rules as multiplication. If both numbers are positive, the answer is positive. If one is positive and one is negative, the answer is negative. If both are negative, the answer is positive, just like multiplication. The last thing we're going to look at is dividing fractions. I want to remind you of how to do that. With dividing fractions, what we're going to do is we're going to leave the first fraction as it is. So 2/5 stays that way. We're going to switch the 8/15. We're going to switch it to multiplication. So notice how the division changed to multiplication and the second fraction flipped. Then we can multiply across like we did earlier and get 30 over 40. Reduce that to get 3/4. And again, if you wanted to cross reduce first, you could do that. 2 and 8, I can take 2 out of both of those. So it's 1 and 4. 15 and 5, I can take 5 out of both of those, which gives me 1 and 3. So then I have 1 over 1 times 3 over 4, which gives me 3 over 4. And that is multiplying and dividing real numbers.